I started to get into music at quite an early age. I saw the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show, and the twist was very popular. So I got swept up by all the youth crazes of the time. Of all the Beatles, strangely enough, the one I found the most fascinating was Ringo, because he was like shaking his head and bashing away. He seemed to be having a great time. So yeah, it was, at least initially, all about the drums for me. I wouldn't say that was the case even just a couple of years later, but certainly my way in was through the drums and through Mr. Ringo Starr. I would say the diverse music scene of New York has made a major contribution to my development as a musician. When I was first becoming aware of the music scene around me, it was around the time of the glam rock movement, and a movement that, well, it wasn't really a movement, but it became known as a movement, a sort of a clique of musicians or anti-musicians known as No Wave that I was part of. And many subsequent scenes since then. I mean, New York's always had good representation of all those music scenes. I still find New York to be very vibrant in that respect. Anyone who says it's become stale, I think, is just not digging deep enough. There's always something going on. I'm always doing production, but this year has been especially busy. I can't even remember how many bands I've worked with this year. Black Moth from Leeds, the Jim Jones Review. I've just done the second album with them. A Greek band called The Callous, who were very interesting and a lot of fun to work with in Athens. And this has been a very interesting time to be in Athens, so I was quite happy about that opportunity to work down there with them.
A very warm Athens.
Very hot Athens. Yeah. Hot in every respect. Yeah, I've been involved in film since early on. I went to NYU Film School, and I just got sucked into the music scene. But I've always had a deep, abiding love of film. I recently did the soundtrack to Faustian Pact, which was a theater piece, but it was a multimedia theater piece with a film component. I've done soundtracks for various short avant-garde films. I'm working on a project that will reveal itself later in the year. And I can only dream that someday I will have an opportunity to score a porno film. The Vanity Set, my special personal project, has been around for a number of years now. We've only managed to release 2 albums. I've got the third one underway, have done so for a couple of years now. It's just that I've been so busy doing production for other bands and working with Grinderman and Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds that sometimes my little personal thing, which is very special to me, ends up being set aside for the moment. It's a very open-ended project, is the good thing about that. In the Vanity Set, I'm the singer, rather than being posted behind the drum kit, my normal position in many of the musical operations I've participated in. I have to say, I consider myself a multi-instrumentalist, and I will shamelessly take a whack at any instrument presented before me. Singing is for me not so much an opportunity to preen about, but I do get a real pleasure out of vocalizing. I don't know why that's so different from any other instrument. I guess because it comes from within you, it just always feels more personal. The music is generally an abstract thing. Singing can be a very specific, emotional, and verbal thing. So it's not just about the performance for me, it's also about a whole other dimension of musicality. I guess nowadays it's easier to speak of a worldwide music scene than it was in the past. When you had a music scene in the past, it was usually very localized, very regional. So you could have an underground scene in a city. Nowadays it's almost impossible to have an underground scene because everything is on the internet almost instantaneously. So I'm not even sure what a music scene is anymore, if one can even speak of a scene. But there have always been artists that are working on the fringe and artists working in the mainstream, likewise, who are doing interesting things. And then there are artists who are doing things that are maybe arguably less interesting. And trying to figure out which is part of the beauty, fun, and despair of music. Because sometimes if you hear a lot of stuff that just isn't any good, I personally start to wonder if music is worth a damn. But then all I need to do is be exposed to a couple of things that take me by surprise, that sound new and fresh. I think, wow, there's still so much more to be explored. So, I don't often think of it as a music scene, and I don't think of it as something that could be dead, because it's everywhere, and it's every place, and it's every time, and people are always rediscovering old things as well, and music is a timeless experience, so listening to old stuff is just as good as listening to new stuff in my book.